there, my name is Cupicate and welcome back to Willow Clan. A lot has happened in the last episode, many sick, some of those being tempted by this dark shadow cat, believed to be from the dark forest now by the medicine cats, and one of our medicine cats, River J, is infected after so long being our wonderful original medicine cat that has done everything she can against this beast. Our cats are still kind of at odds with each other, unsure whether they should leave, whether they should stay. Some think that if they leave, they might take the infection with them and spread it further, making the cat's outreach, the dark cat's outreach, even greater. So there is a dilemma on what to do, what is the right thing to do. This clan is still very large. It has kits, these kits that they want to protect, but they might not be able to. Kits that belong to Raccoon Creek and Current, who has left. So now a few of the cats go out to patrol. After all, they are still worried about their borders being protected, especially now. But it hasn't stopped them from taking desperate cats in. And Sherry, who is leading the patrol, Finnelthroat and Juno Glare are all together and come across a kitty pet begging for their housefolk to come back. Seeing that the cat is in no condition to be on its own, they all agree, especially Finnelthroat, that they should take Lavender Paw back into the clan's clutches. I don't think this is a good thing, since Finnelthroat was a part of the party, and we know that at the moment, he has some strange intentions. It is the next moon, Moon 106. Finnelthroat has gotten white cough, and it does seem pretty bad. And he's a bit confused by this, because when he spoke with this shadow cat, it talked of never being sick again, having special powers even, getting to be a hero. And this is his first taste that he has kind of been lied to. At least that's what he thinks now, but he's still unsure. Elstar calls the clan to a meeting and declares Lavender Paw to be a warrior and now called Lavender Frond, and they're celebrated for their independence. It is the very next moon. Late in the evening, River J goes out for some late herb gathering. She requests to go alone, and instead, she goes to the place where they bury their cats, those that were loved and lost, and she tries to call out to Star Clan, desperately. After a few hours of doing this, who is to come to her but Ridge Goose? Ridge Goose, who has been a guide to all of these cats for so long, and has saved them many times with this illness, giving them hints, giving them ways to combat it, and yet the dark forest cat prevailed. Ridge Goose is saddened. It is clear in his expression, even though he is shrouded in starlight, and he comes to River J and finally speaks after so long. He says, "I know a way to ease some of this suffering, but it will take sacrifice, great sacrifice." Ridge Goose explains some of what the dark forest cat intends. And so now we are going to hear what our Willow Clan cats have been used for. Ridge Goose says that the dark forest cats are trying to find ways out back into the real world by using living cats. The easiest way for them to do this is to get them sick and desperate, weakening their body and their spirit. And in many ways, it has worked. Some cats that have succumbed to this sickness or have taken the temptation of the dark forest cat have left, and there is no help for them. These will become shadow cats. Cats that will later torment Mist Clan, if you remember them. And even Hollow Clan. The reason that that clan made so many sacrifices was to keep the shadow cats from killing them all, infecting them all. It all comes back to this. So Ridge Goose makes an offer. He says, "Your spirit is still not tainted even though your body is. Your spirit is beautiful, River J. It shines brighter than many of those in StarClan. You have fought for the greater good. You have shown kindness, bravery, diligence in all of this darkness. And it is your spirit that would have to be sacrificed. He then says, a spirit as beautiful and shining as yours deserves to be in StarClan, and so you do not have to take this sacrifice. Here is what I can offer to you if you do. If you choose to sacrifice your spirit to the dark forest, those that remain in Willow Clan will now have control over their own shadow cats, their own form of shadows. They could learn to use it for good rather than bad, and they will have to become protectors of the mire, to keep other cats from coming in. They can thrive there. They can still continue to grow and have kits. If they choose to bring others then, that is on them. But if someone is to take the form of shadows, then they will still have control over their form. So Ridge Goose admits that he can't stop the form of shadows being given to a cat, but as long as they remain in the mire, they will have the control they need to keep themselves from being bloodthirsty. But not only that, it would eliminate the spore sickness, what they have been fighting for so long. All cats that have mushrooms growing out of them, cured or not, will return back to their normal ways. No more mushrooms, no more sickness. But those with the form of shadows would have to stay, and everyone else would leave, knowing that Riverjay is their savior, but Riverjay would have to be condemned to the dark forest. Ridge Goose believes that her spirit is so light and beautiful that her entering the dark forest would blind everyone there, and it would weaken them where now they are strong. But Riverjay would not be amongst those she has lost. She would not be in StarClan, so it is ultimately up to her. But before Ridge Goose can even ask again, Riverjay interjects and says yes. I am one life and there are many. I tried so hard in my life to find how to cure my clan that I've grown up with, that I've learned to love, that has been made together, with Iris Star leading the beginning of Willow Clan. She loves her clan. She loves her fellow medicine cats. She wants Raccoon Creek to escape and her kits to escape, to go somewhere else and survive, to live out the rest of their days without pain or suffering or fear of those things. Riverjay explains all this to Ridge Goose, and he smiles pleasantly. He says, I had no doubt in you. I only wish that you could come with me, but I will always remember you, and everyone in StarClan will call out to you before you go, so you can hear them one last time. Riverjay decided to lay over Ridge Goose's grave, and she said, I am ready. And Ridge Goose, along with many other StarClan cats that we have lost, they surround her. It's crowded. There's lots of mews of praise and love, and it all reaches Riverjay's ears, and it warms her heart. She doesn't even feel afraid. She isn't sure if it's because she's that strong, or if the StarClan cats have taken her fear from her. They mew with love and care, and she closes her eyes for the last time. When all the cats awaken in the next moon, they do find Riverjay, as she had never returned from herb gathering after she went missing. She was found within the territory. She was found exactly where she laid, on top of Ridge Goose's grave. But before they even found her, already everyone was feeling lighter. Raccoon Creek has recovered from delivering her litter, and so she was one of those who went out to look for Riverjay in concern for her mentor. And as she walks, she feels wonderful. She isn't sure because she is a new mom, so that is a wonderful feeling all on its own. But then as she steps, every paw step, the mushrooms on her back loosen and begin to fall off. Her back doesn't feel heavy, it doesn't feel scarred, it doesn't feel like it's been embedded with nails as it has for many moons now. Something has changed. Even Finnelthroat is suddenly just better from their white cough immediately. The rage inside of him has calmed down. He still has a sternness to him, but no more rage. So much so that he went to visit a loner. This loner is a beautiful, solid black female with bright golden eyes. Her name is Ravenfoot, somebody that Finnelthroat has fallen quite in love with. There are a few other cats that follow Raccoon Creek in the search for River Jay, but they also carry the body of Lavender Frond, who unfortunately did succumb to the sickness they had when they were abandoned by their housefolk. They still want to give Lavender Frond an appropriate clan burial because they were a member, even for a short time. While they travel together, that is when they find River Jay's body, and there they will have a vigil. Elstar's voice cracks with grief, talking about the time they had with River Jay. In the days to come, Elstar barely stirs from their nest. Raccoon Creek had always looked up to River Jay, and the sight of their dead body doesn't feel real. The vigil that night is numb and cold. Things are never going to be the same now. Could never be the same. Raccoon Creek doesn't understand how life is supposed to just go on without River Jay. They refuse to accept it. It just doesn't feel real. Frilled Scratch stares at River Jay's body blankly, waiting for the horrible nightmare to end. Frilled Scratch can't help their bitterness and rage as River Jay's life is recalled at the vigil. They coldly turn away any who offer comfort. Without River Jay, what's the point? Our clan has indeed been shrunken. We only have 15 cats now, and all the cats lay together. No patrols will be taken for now, while everyone grieves the loss of sweet River Jay. Then that same night, after the vigil, Elstar lays in her nest in the leader's den, grieving, sobbing into the leaves that make up her nest, wishing that River Jay was there. And as she rests, she hears mews of celebration, a joyous choir of mews that sounds like music in her ears. It's pleasant, it warms her heart and pulls the grief out of her very soul. And she's so shocked by this. She opens her eyes and lifts her head to be greeted with blinding light. The light of so many Star Clan cats. And then 3 cats come forward. Ridge Goose is in the middle, leading. On the left is Iris Star, and on the right is Starling Star. They approach Elrun. And Elrun quickly asks, "Is it my time? Am I to join you?" And Ridge Goose says, "Not yet, but I come with good news. Because of River Jay's actions," and he keeps it short, not going into detail, "Willow Clan will no longer be plagued by this mushroom sickness, this fungus sickness. It is gone, perished out of the land. Now you are free of this sickness. No more will suffer, and those infected will suddenly get better." He says you may have already noticed the change. Those inflicted with the form of shadows, as you may have heard, now has control over the dark beast inside of them. They can choose to use it for good or bad, but it will be up to you to make sure that it is used for good. Then he says, "However, those of you without the form of shadows cannot stay. You must move on. You must assign a new leader before you leave, one that you trust with a very great task. First, if this is truly to be a new clan with a new leader and a new purpose, the clan's name should be changed. All of us Star Clan cats have agreed that the new clan will be named Mire Clan. It doesn't sound welcoming, and that is the purpose. Those that stay will have the great duty of making sure that Mire Clan thrives within its small circle, but to not let any in. I know there is no way to make them keep this promise, but with your guidance, I believe it is possible. Anyone that does not have the form of shadows must leave, and those that do will stay. guardians of a darkness that should not be spread to others, to other clans. It is your job to make sure they understand this, and we are entrusting it to you." And then he laughs and says, "After all, you are a wonderful mother, and there is no one else that I would trust this with more than you." Elstar understands. She doesn't ask any questions, though she is curious what Riverjay has done, and is curious why she doesn't see Riverjay amongst the Star Clan cats, seeing so many inside of her den. She takes on the responsibility with grace and understanding, and for the next moon, she will work with all of the cats to make what the Star Clan cats has said possible. And with great training and discipline, even adding their own little new rule set of sorts. But all of those with the form of shadows agrees, even Finnelthroat. His eagerness for understanding is apparent. Very, very apparent. Though Elstar doesn't love how he can be quick-tempered, he is passionate, and so she has decided her new leader. It takes the entire moon to make all of this happen, but once it is over and decided, Elstar retires. Finnelstar is then made leader. He is very bold, very brave, and has decided to stay and lead those with the form of shadows to do good and be a protector of the mire, but more so a protector against the mire. One that will protect others, keep others out. Border patrols will be increased and set as a priority even over hunting patrols. After all, there will only be few. Elrun will then announce that those without the form of shadows will begin to leave, and she and her former deputy will begin escorting all of the cats out. They will be exiled from the land, but not for anything bad. It is for their protection, and Finnelstar will now be the one to watch them go. So Elrun will leave, Melting Heart will leave, Raccoon Creek, even though she is still in grief over losing Riverjay, will leave with her 2 kits. Blotchkit and Pheasantkit will follow her closely. Furled Scratch, even though she is grieving, knows her responsibility to stay, and she will remain the medicine cat until someone takes her place. Shinowisp will also stay, understanding her role as well, and even though she is a senior adult, she is ready to hunt for the clan, the new protectors of the mire. Nakala Pelt will leave, ensuring that she will be a protector of those that must escape the mire, making sure no one goes hungry and no one is injured. Cherie will stay, even though her mate will have to leave. They will have a tearful goodbye, but Astermoon still does not want the form of shadows. Even knowing that she could have control over it, it isn't something she wants. Sherry respects that, will stay, and Astermoon will go. Beach Skip is next to leave and wishes Mire Clan luck, knowing that they will need it, but with a side grin, he nods at Finnelstar. Finnelstar, after all, was Beach Skip's apprentice, and so he knows he put the best of what he could into Finnelstar. Juno Glare, although is very new to clan life, is happy to stay. Having survived sickness and being abandoned by her own housefolk, she is ready to take on the responsibility that this entails. Hailgale will also stay, and so will Spore Branch. All that remain are these 7 cats. And while the clan can grow from here, and certainly will grow from here, this is the end of our story. Mire Clan is born from Willow Clan. Finnelstar will lead them. Other cats will join. After all, if you watch another video that I will link in the description, you will see all of the cats I got in a randomizer for Mire Clan. Some of these cats obviously weren't in there, but eventually Ravenfoot, the loner that Finnelstar has been eyeing, will join the clan, take the form of shadows, and become the deputy. Finnelstar and Ravenfoot will also have kits of their own, and the clan will grow. Defenders against darkness, even though they are a piece of darkness themselves. I really hope you liked this story, you guys. This has been one of my favorite stories so far, and it all links to the web of stories we have within clangen. Now you know the origins of Mist Clan. The cats that took form of shadows and got away became monsters. So even though Finnlstar and the rest of this clan will do their best, sometimes it doesn't matter how proficient you are. Little things leak through. And that will happen within his reign, but he will still do his best. It also leads to Hollow Clan and why they did what they did. If you haven't seen those series, I highly suggest watching them next, as essentially this is a prequel to how the Form of Shadows and the Shadow Cats came to be. So please remember to tickle and poke that like button, subscribe to join our family if you haven't already, and jingle the bell to get notified of when I post our next clangen adventure with updated clangen, because I haven't updated it yet. This is an old version and it's gotten a few versions since then. Also, don't forget to jingle that bell. It is the Holly Jolly Jingle season, so jingle it so that you get notified. I love you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you in our next adventure. Bye!